This is the pre-bid meeting for 25 PW05 mill and overlay of Edgar Road, two other streets, and parking lots, as well as concrete slab replacements on Murdoch and
Yeah.
South Elm.
Yes.
The project is today is the non-mandatory pre-bid meeting, and the project is bidding at 10 o'clock next Tuesday. Bid opening will be then, and the project includes milling 2 inches on the asphalt roadways as well as the parking lots.
Yep.
And those parking lots are the DeSoto parking lot,
lot. And then we have the one over on Spring and Dale, right?
log cabin.
Yeah, log cabin. Okay, yeah,
Yep.
behind Bar Frisco Bar.
And so both all asphalt work is 2 inches of mill and 2 inches of fill.
Okay.
So Brad, you may have noticed on the document in the bid form, we have the BP1, MoDOT BP1 listed as the mix. But then the contract documents quite a bit reference the county type C. You will probably want a clarification on that. And so very similar mixes.
Yes,
Okay.
I don't think we need it. I mean, pricing isn't gonna be much different, so
Okay.
we can finalize that maybe at a pre-count or whoever it is.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
It doesn't really affect me pricing wise. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. There is a separate line item for streets from the parking lots due to the specific
Yeah,
features of the work. And then both for milling and paving, that's the same. Reset and adjust manholes to grade. Those are on the street network. And then we have 4-inch double yellow hot thermoplastic lines. That's the double yellow. And that's on Edgar Road. And then we have a 24-inch wide white hot thermoplastic pedestrian crosswalk and 24-inch wide white hot thermoplastic stop bars. Those are on I think all roads.
Yeah, Edgar, no, for sure.
Edgar for sure.
And then probably on log cabin a little bit too. Probably Edgar leaving the parking
So,
lots.
parking lots, no. Parking lots, we stripe the parking lots.
Okay.
You
Oh,
will
okay.
pave, we will stripe the parking lot, we will come back and stripe the parking lots. But on the roads, contractor will stripe the stop bars, crosswalks, double yellow.
Hash yellows if needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and there are bicycle share the road symbols on Edgar Road that we will put back.
okay.
And then there is remove and replace 8-inch thick concrete roadway pavement slab.
Yep.
These are on Murdoch and South Elm. These we require second shift work due to the volume of traffic on those roads.
So that would be what, like after?
It'd be like after 7 or 8. Yeah. And then for that, we do the number 4 epoxy to the bars tied into the neighboring slabs, or if it's multiple slabs, joint baskets will suffice. Are we doing curbs for asphalt or are we leaving the curbs out of it?
No curbs.
Okay.
No curbs, but if integral on the
The monolithic.
concrete pavement sections, then they would be a part of it. Part of
I don't think they're monolithic on those areas, but I have to double check.
Okay.
But
Temporary traffic control is altogether one lump sum for the job. So one of the things on the temporary traffic control, of course, on Edgar Road, we were not contemplating closing Edgar Road completely, although
one lane open.
it's maybe flagger control
Yeah.
Or temporary
And then-
signal or something.
and temporary signal. And then on the shorter residential street sections, traffic can be detoured.
Mhm.
But then the parking lots well, the one parking lot will need, some traffic control because we're proposing that, requiring that as a phased, work.
Okay.
That is the log cabin lot, in two phases, so that we don't cancel, all parking, at the same time. That's a very busy parking lot.
Yes.
So do half of it. There are three entrances to it. Contractor can propose a traffic control, a plan around that. And, then, get traffic in and out. Maybe closing one access or
Entrance,
up to two accesses at the time.
So I
And
think
then
there's three
keeping-
or four total accesses on that
Yeah.
lot.
Looks like there's at least, yeah.
DeSoto, there's I think one into the lot itself, and there's like one like access that's not into the lot itself.
But on the DeSoto lot, we're okay with closing it
Closing, yeah.
all off, for the work.
That's that, well, maybe we'll look at a map here in a second, but.
Mhm.
That's that is just an older grade portion on this, right, kinda?
Yes.
So we're now it'll be the black section. that
Oh,
we're
it's
doing.
this section.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that'd be the section we're doing, because that's all Rogers Produce, and then
Okay.
there's like a hair salon right there,
Okay.
so that's all private.
Okay, so this portion. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Prevailing wages, standard documents, I think we might all be familiar with. We want, hard copy bids, submitted to either the city hall. I think in the document, we have Public Works department.
Mhm.
And so Public Works Department used to be here at the city hall, not anymore. And so, we can accept bids at the Public Works Department. That is at another location, but
Mhm.
that location, well, I think that location information is in the bid documents. But, let me see here.
Should also give us address.
Submission of bids, envelope shall be addressed to Department of Public Works, City of Webster Groves, Missouri, 63119. So if you do that, it will probably go to our, service center, which will be okay. We can accept bids there. If we accept bids there, we'll bring them into the finance department here. However, you can hand deliver bids to, here,
Downstairs,
this
yeah.
location downstairs, or in fact, the finance department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either front desk or front desk to be given to the finance department.
Yeah, and we can tell them front desk, like, hey, if you get these to give them to Gregory.
Yeah.
And I know, do you want to do electronic versions or no?
No electronic,
Okay. So physical only.
just hard copies. We're still, Brad, you may not have, you may have noticed this, the bid ad, the invitation is still not on the website.
Right.
And so we have a web link here that's gonna be live by the end of today.
Okay.
And so, but that's just pretty much this document that you
Right.
already have, I
Right.
think. And so,
Yeah.
because we're not doing any electronic submissions, that doesn't have that much of importance
Okay.
in this case.
Okay.
And so you can, my contact information is on there. You can contact me for any
Okay.
questions. If we issue an addendum after this, it will be by the end of Thursday.
Okay.
That way we give the bidders at least 1 to 3 working days. Well, I think even Thursday at 10 o'clock, it should be,
Yeah.
but 3 days was always our 3 working days rule
Right.
before the bid opening. Any addenda
Yeah.
would be issued. We can do that. If you don't see anything, it means that there's no
Yeah.
addenda. We have your contact information. And I believe the quantities and all that are accurate. If you see any discrepancies, let us know, please.
Okay.
So that, it's corrected before you bid the document. I mean, you can always make revisions on the document, but we prefer to make it, revise it, and so everybody bids the same. So that you just fill out unit cost and the extended cost here.
All uniform.
This is what I can think of. In terms of the duration, we have 30 working days. So that's somewhat of a tight schedule. But again, I think it's doable. And so if there are any concerns, let us know. we're expecting the contractor probably to get in and do it sometime, in the next few months.
Yeah.
A good thing for the contract, a hint to the contractor is, school's open right
Right.
around the middle of August.
Yep.
Before that would be a good time, especially on areas like
Yeah, Edgar.
Southtown
And Edgar Road.
and Edgar Road got carried quite a bit. Edgar Road is Webster University traffic quite a bit there,
Mix and traffic too.
and South,
Yeah.
Hickson traffic too.
Yeah, and South Home as well. So I know, we had done the main project over there. So I know there was a lot of hiccups with having that road closed. So there's gonna be a lot of resident fatigue, which will notify residents as needed. So having at least some opening and some proper traffic control, which we'll work with you guys on, that's gonna be crucial, so they're aware. Most of the residents, I think, know already that we're gonna be coming back and doing this. It's just gonna be just okay when and where, and also just seeing how things are laid out, so they're aware, so.
We will check on it, collect material tickets. And in terms of billing, we can entertain progress billing, but because the job is a 30-day job, might be just one bill.
Makes sense.
The concrete slab
Yeah.
work, are you requiring are you expecting it to be open the next morning, or are you?
I think, that's me preferable, but I know for the traffic we need, we're gonna be needing concrete that's gonna withstand the heavy traffic that we get. I think that's gonna
Right.
be more crucial, in my opinion, personally.
How early is 4 hours or?
Well, I mean, you can put, something that's gonna,
Be ready for you.
be ready, but I mean, it's harder to deal with, so I didn't know if when you said second shift, you expected it to be totally 100% back open the next morning, or if you could still be curing things out.
So if we can keep it closed and cure it, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, there might be some driveways or some aprons that you gotta have open, so.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Cause if it's a slab plant that I'm thinking of, there should be ways around it, and that should be fine, and that's where again, it's gonna be necessary people that we have to deal with traffic wise, because we get so many tractor trailers coming
Yeah,
through
right.
here, so.
right. That's
And I know that's what we're gonna worry about, cause I don't wanna have you guys pour them like, oh, hey, 2 months later or 5
Right.
months later, oh, hey.
Yeah.
We can coordinate in the field,
Yeah.
those accesses also in terms of what.
Yeah.
Are those,
phasing.
are those slabs marked yet, or?
They are
I know,
not.
I think Frank and Scott know where they are or know what we're talking about, but I don't know if they're individually marked as of yet.
On the documents, did I include? No. No, they are not.
So, and then that's something we can, once we get to that point, we can notify, but I think I know what we're talking about. Because we
So,
can monitor traffic around.
Murdoch is, can we pull it up? I don't know. I can show it here. The viewers will not know it, right?
I can share the screen probably.
Murdoch slabs are.
Let's see if I can share.
Show the, the main button. Yep. So the Murdoch Avenue is off this way. Yeah, those slabs, see that's a number of slabs there, and then as you get closer to this entrance, more like inside lanes,
Yeah.
both directions inside lanes, and then there's one up further. Yeah, there's one. You can see the joints near the animal hospital there. That slab. Yeah, exactly. So this is the general area on Murdoch. And then if you go to South Elm, I'll show you. And Murdoch is how much? 200 square yards on Murdoch and 500 square yards on South Elm. South Elm, south of the interchange. Yeah, if you zoom in there, probably further south. It's generally this area, but northbound lanes, inside lane. In this area, as well as you go back down to Ambrose Way, right outside of that. Yeah, see the broken area there. That's the area that will have probably one or two slabs there.
So we'll be smart about it and make sure we have entrance, but basically you could go at second shift, you could break it out, leave it coned off one night,
Yeah.
come back the next night, pour back, you don't have necessarily, might be a, special area here and there, but.
Yeah. And that's where, again, I mean, it's gonna be necessary evil. We'll do our best to kind of help work with anybody
Yeah.
affected, but it's gonna be, hey, sorry, we got this.
Okay.
So,
Would it be possible to break it and then pour it, Brad? It's probably a lot of work. And then
Well-
just do that and then, but still protect it the next morning, but it pour that way.
I mean, it can be done, you'll be opening up you'll have to decide I think on something like this, which is a little bit outside, my recommendation would be to decide exactly what you want and how it's done, and you put it out in an addendum, because if you let the contractor, decide, they're gonna maximize their efficiency in terms of opening the concrete plant so that they would be able to open everything up the night before, and the next night open the concrete plant for just, for as much as you can done versus, having the concrete plant open up, multiple nights because you need to break it up in phases. That's gonna cost more money.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay.
if the least amount of time you open up, overnight, the cheaper it's gonna be. If you want it so that you pour back everything you break out, that might take 4, plant openings versus 2. I don't, just.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll issue an addendum on that.
Yeah.
To outline that better. Okay. That's good, good input. Thank you. And, oh yeah, here is on the remarks also, for Edgar Road, portion of Edgar Road, was just, concrete, paved. That's, the northbound
Yeah,
lanes
here.
from the bridge.
So ultimately from here to about here is all concrete on half of the asphalt.
It's concrete to the surface that
Okay.
will need to be milled down. That there, it's concrete.
So we are milling the concrete there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, 'cause I mean, you can see where this is all
Mhm.
kind of banged up a little bit, but this is kind of close to where MoDOT right away kicks in. And then I think right here is a cutoff. And then we do from here all the way to East Glendale here.
And the bridge is not included.
Yeah, that's MoDOT. So, this is a major cut through to get on the side of Webster, besides going all the way down to South Elm or taking the police station. So that was the headaches that we ran into with the main project over here. So once we can get this portion and this portion wrapped up as soon as possible. Usually if they get access to East Jackson, that's when we can detour around and they're in that side in that neighborhood essentially. So that'll be, not, I wouldn't say so much a hurdle, but that'll be a point of a matter of fact interest, I guess, or point of interest for that route. And then, other than that, I think once you go through the whole way to Glendale, that's just, we have the park right next to it. You don't really have any driveways going onto that road, I don't think. I think you might have a few like here, but nothing too crazy because it's all the park right here. And there's multiple entrances, and there's a lot here for the park and a lot here, so we should have an
Edgar Road
issue.
is, tight. And so one direction at a time probably is a good way to pave Edgar. That way you travel only in one direction and then complete it and come back around and do it. And then in terms of hauling the material in, Big Bend through Edgar is one way to do it, or Glendale to Glendale or Watson.
Glendale, Watson, police station.
To Edgar. Yeah, as much as possible. You know, these streets of Florence, East Jackson, those are not probably good hauling routes. So. Yeah.
So, yeah, so here's that stretch from Florence to Glendale, and then here's the park over here. So concrete curb and gutter, monolithic, it looks like, thankfully. And then here's the crosswalk.
So in that concrete section, did they pour that separate or did they pour that together?
It's separate, I believe. I don't believe it's monolithic. I don't think so.
Right.
I know we don't try to do monolithic.
Right. Okay.
If it is, I don't even know. I mean, we can ask Frank to make sure, but I think Frank would have known.
You mean like a carbon gutter?
Yeah, if that concrete section that was poured, we have to mill if there's a joint there.
Oh,
Between the curb, the gutter pan and the pavement,
yeah.
or if was all poured at one time and we just kind of paint a straight line and just try to mill that edge, or you saw cut that edge and mill to it, or
Yeah.
Probably saw cut mill too, probably if we had to. That's
But the current concrete pavement doesn't go up to the gutter pan. I think there's like a section that's left in between. And so I think you mill it down without saw cutting would be okay.
They just passed their trench, they didn't do.
Correct,
anything.
correct.
So ultimately, on the other side of this, it's basically this with concrete. That's
Yeah,
essentially
so they didn't take the curb out probably.
No.
Okay.
Oh, I'll go back up here.
On the parking lot that we talked about phasing, is there a note in the, I haven't read it through everything. So
Right.
Is there a note in the spec about phasing it?
Yes,
Right.
yeah, and so there is this spreadsheet, right, after the information for bidders. There's a remarks section on that,
Okay.
completion in 2 phases required.
No, I see that.
For log cabin lot,
Okay.
just one for lots.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get over there. So here's log cabin.
Do you know how much asphalt is there by chance?
I think we have
Thickness
quantities. I think everything is 2 inches. I believe.
No, in terms of like the existing. So sometimes when you mill, I don't know if that parking lot's been over, I haven't looked at it yet, if it's not been overlaid yet, and you mill 2 inches, sometimes there's only. 2.5,
Yeah.
2 3/4, and so when you mill 2. Then that last half inch, 3/4 of an inch doesn't really hold up during. The cleanup process and then the paving process,
Yeah.
so. It looks like there's a pretty tall curb face there, so, to me, I'm wondering. Just if you know what if it's 4 inches, then you're good, because you have 2 left when you mill. If it's less than, if it's 3 or less, then you sometimes can get into a situation where you're down to rock, basically.
Yeah.
And what
I'm not sure.
and what do you do then? Just something to think about.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. It's an unknown for now. We didn't core these, or we
Right.
didn't look at old documents or something, but that's an important concern. So I was kind of debating on this, whether we would do a thinner, for the asphalt parking lot, like not necessarily
Like a
2 inch.
Like a 1 inch or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes on that stuff, we just transition mill where we need to blend in, and then you just go up on the curb, assuming you don't create a water issue somewhere.
Yeah,
But, the 3 entrances for sure, you would mill, and then at every sidewalk that's flush, you would have to mill, but it's something to think about. if the lot's already been overlaid, and you can tell your 6-inch curve is a little bit shorter,
Right.
then you know you probably have a pretty better chance of it being fine, but.
Yeah.
And I guess there's concrete paved by a dumpster you'd have to consider,
Correct.
so.
And then another lot. Over there. Right here.
Yeah. And so that's the breaking point is the change in color, or is that, that's
Yeah.
that seam?
I think it'd be right. I think it's I'm assuming it's a seam. Kind of. I think up to here is where their right of way is, or what? Not the right of way, but their property begins. This whole ordeal, I think, is theirs, and they share that with this, and then this is not ours. So here, then obviously we have this approach, and then
That part is not ours either, so we stop
I
at the
think it-
building corner.
yeah, that pretty much be.
Okay. Yeah, I like the parking lot stuff better, but some of those roads are gonna be a pain.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, those major arterials, it becomes like, it's no matter how you do it, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, I know, it'll be a lot faster than a main job. I know.
Yeah, sure. You're gonna-
Hopefully, thankfully.
You know, and you can decide if you wanna, mill fill,
Yeah,
a lane. Or, mill the whole thing and then just pave one lane one day and one lane the next day, kinda. I don't know if you have a preference on that, or.
I think we've done both in the past. I don't know if we have a preference, and we can talk with Frank to make sure to see, because I mean, he was more involved in that than I was at the time, so.
Or the cross section,
Yeah.
doing it all together.
Yeah, if you do full width, or if you can, sometimes in the, I don't know if you'd be open to anything overnight on that road since there's more residential close by, but
Yeah.
in the past, on some projects, we've milled at night and paved during the day, to try to just do one lane quickly and get it done in 2 days, but.
Yeah.
There's other ways, there's different ways to skin the cat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what had to make it fun, right?
That's
Too
right.
many decisions.
That's right.
I know, I mean, I don't know if they would be open to it, if we would be worthwhile to ask about doing this section like that, just so this is open and done. Kind of, because this is all university housing, and I know if we get that done sooner than later before they move in, I mean, you'd have these residences that we could notify, hey, they're gonna be doing some work. And kind of see how that goes. We can definitely entertain the idea, but obviously if no's the answer, then no's the answer, so. But I mean, yeah, so I mean, they're already, they just got done doing this, I think like a few weeks ago, so they're already pretty tired of it being closed.
Yeah, the residents have been fatigued, yes. But we would probably be open, Brad, to have it all daytime work. Yeah, there. But in terms of your question is actually pretty important, valid in terms of the entire thing to be milled, or like doing it mill and pave one half and then mill the other half and then pave it. My preference also would be to mill it all, the entire width.
And that's what we
before you
normally have done.
And that's what I normally would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that speeds the factor.
You can do more and get more done, be more efficient by milling it all first and then paving it, second.
Yeah.
Because if you do mill and fill and you have to pave everything back that you mill out the same day, you gotta stop the mill at like noon and you pave the rest and you start the paving crew 3 hours later than you normally would, things like
Right.
that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to manage a couple butt joints and that's how usually you do that.
Yeah.
In terms of the pavement thickness on Edgar,
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
no, okay.
I don't think I'm worried about that.
Okay. Yeah, that's, we can let them drive on the paved, milled surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the, back to that parking lot, the only thing, with the thickness there is that if it is thinner, and you mill off that hard crust, sometimes you realize, oh, this is.
All rock.
And it may not be as solid as you like, and then you open, Then are we doing
Tears
base
it up.
repairs or who's,
Yeah.
who's doing that or
Yeah.
how do we figure that out? So,
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you open that crust up and,
Oh, no.
yeah, you're not really sure what you get.
Yeah, we've got some streets like that where it's like, I was like, oh, you don't have a concrete base. I'm like, oh, well, all right.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Sometimes that stuff is old enough and they put it in right years ago
Yeah.
and other times.
You notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice.
So, and if they didn't, we'll put an 18-ton or even a 15-ton load truck on there, you're gonna find out quick.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a bit unknown. So some of that may involve in the project.
The striping there, like on Murdoch with the concrete, is that included in the quantities or is that something different? Or are
This
you
one,
guys doing the striping?
this one is,
Bike symbols and
go
then
back and check.
I think this is included. I think it should be at least. I think they have what parking lots, we show parking lots and the bike symbols.
So the one thing with the thermoplastic on
Might-
concrete, we didn't like it as much.
Yeah, you might have some different prep or something.
Right, right. And we may have just put it in as a precaution, just to have it in there. But our crews might choose to do it themselves.
Right, yeah,
Right, not thermal.
okay. But sometimes the stripe is right on the joint too, or
Yeah.
whatever, and so it's not so much there. Yeah, and I hate to ask you to do it, but it would be helpful if, before bidding, if those areas could be kind of marked a little bit.
Yeah.
Because then you can
On
determine,
the field, yeah.
you could determine if you need, if they're in separate lanes, or if they're all in one lane, and you could kind of do them all at one time.
Yeah.
Or if they're in both lanes, then you have to, you have to do it in two different phases.
Okay. Will do. We'll get on.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
That I can think
And
of.
anything I guess, are those all camera, those signals detection there, all cameras, or are we gonna?
I think these are, I think MoDOT, these are all camera, and so
Yeah.
these aren't even ours.
Yeah, right.
So, no, these are,
Yeah, sometimes, sir, yeah, I see.
yeah,
Those there, but.
those and then the loops are over there too.
I don't see any cameras on there.
Well,
So that's something to keep in mind if you're marking up there.
yeah, but see, this isn't even our right of way.
Okay, so it's outside, so you'd be
Yeah.
back there anyway, okay.
Yeah, so we wouldn't get near the loops, I don't believe.
Okay,
At least get from, yeah, so, other than that, I think, yeah, we have conduit here, and in the grass area for the street lights, but that's about it. That would be near you guys and stuff. Unless we take this crosswalk out, then it will be there. But we can mark that whenever that's ready. Yeah, that's really honestly everything. Have nothing over here. It's not even gonna get a signal up here either.
Okay.
So. Yeah, don't see any more questions.
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
We'll issue the addendum,
Yeah,
send it to you.
yeah, the more you can put in for like the specialty things about phasing or, type of material you want, or,
Copy breakdown.
yeah, it helps determine. Helps even the playing field, make sure someone doesn't take it into consideration and then you get a little bitter and it doesn't like where his numbers at after the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And then we pay in change orders.
Right, or you're-
Fun stuff.
Yeah. If it was a simple mill and fill, I probably wouldn't have come, but because of the second shift stuff.
Yes.
That's the reason why I came here to kind of just
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah. So we'll put also the information up there. Well, so now it's gonna be posted but then the addendum will be
Be covered
posted
in
on the
later.
same link.
Okay.
And then, yeah, that's how we communicate in a way, but then the communication of the bids, the submission of the bids is hard copy.
Yep.
So we're not there yet. We would like to be electronic at some point, but that needs some checks and balances in terms of public bid opening and such, and so we're putting that together.
Okay.
May try to put this still that ad out on the plan rooms.
Mhm.
And so that way, the audience is a little bit larger. We're not sure about extending the bid opening dates yet. But depending on how ready we can be with some of this information that may be needed, then
Maybe
we will
delay.
communicate that
Yeah.
also.
So,
Sounds good.
sounds good.
Thank you for the great questions.
Yes.
And your interest.
Sounds good.
All right, at this point, we'll close it up.